What is the difference between difficulty and accessibility? Why does it seem like players seem to confuse the terms? This is an incoming mini rant because the Helldivers 2 experience and the future of it depends on players understanding this. The Helldivers community is still dealing with the aftermath of the first balance patch, and this whole difficulty versus accessibility is a big pain point. Comments left on my shorts point out something interesting. An aspect of these meta bums complaining just sounds like them whining that it got too hard, just like the developers said. If post-patch there are still many Helldivers completing the highest of difficulties, then all this whining does sound like a skill issue. The rise of cheating and this era of participation trophies in games where the lowest of players feel entitled to belonging in, say, higher ranks is a huge problem, and it's created a disconnect. Do y'all remember the Cuphead drama with it being too hard at first and developers had to push back on that? I feel like Soul games do get that flack as well, but in general I think people understand that Souls games are intended like that and players going into them know what they're getting into. And that is where the term accessibility comes in. Souls and say Cuphead sort of get to establish that this shit's going to be hard, therefore not being accessible to the wider public. However, games like Helldivers is going to attract more players because it is more accessible at the start. It allows more casuals to come in, and this is where the notion of difficulty and climbing skill comes into play. But just because a game is accessible at the start doesn't mean it needs to be accessible throughout all of its difficulties. I mean, taking a tangent, thinking about Call of Duty, right? Why do we see so many cheaters? Why do they want the prestige of high ranks and whatnot, but not do the work? In Apex, we saw the same thing, and the whole debacle of Season 13 and Season 17 of Ranked was because of this notion. It's why Ranked in Apex is filled in with cheaters day in and day out. PvP games have enabled this mindset that getting these titles is more important than how you actually get them. And let me be clear, it's not that I think that everyone playing these games think this way, or even that it's a majority of players. It's not. It's just an annoying ass problem that we have to deal with. Think about it like this. Oh my god, this system's too hard. No point in grinding ranked. That was something that happened in Season 13. Who said that mostly? The casuals at the time. With how things were structured then, it was too hard and they felt that they were getting snubbed. Or, oh my god, this system's too easy. There is no point in grinding ranked. This happened in Season 17. Who said this mostly? The sweats of Ranked who felt like their work was being diminished because now anyone could be what they were. It's like I've said in Apex. Everyone is allowed to participate in Ranked, but Ranked is not for everyone. And that is why this part of the article really strikes a chord with me when I was reading it during this whole debacle, because it falls under the same premise. Why are we expecting that at the highest of levels it should in any way be easy to do or just doable just because you have the right equipment? Which is why I always circle back and thinking that the dev was right. There are plenty of Helldivers completing these missions at the highest of levels. Sure, there are some issues with enemy spawns, but they have figured it out, so why not the crybabies? And it relates also to my Apex rank tangent. Everyone is allowed to participate, but understand that maybe the highest difficulties is not for everyone, and that is totally okay. And with my tangent, I wanted to highlight the types of people who were complaining and why. Who's complaining right now in Helldivers? Are they skillful players that feel wrong about the changes that dampers the work that they did? Or are they ones who were cheesing their way to the highest difficulties because they could and actually do need to level up gameplay wise before they can actually do the levels they deserve to do? Like I said in the patch review video, I think the only real complaint that is valid is how enemies behave at higher difficulties, which can and should be tweaked. But I am in the belief that developers should not be in the business of actually making things easier for players just because. Players need to be held accountable for their own actions. Yes, we want things to be accessible as possible, but the good stuff should be difficult. Things should be a grind, and things are meant to be challenging to do. I mean, I just successfully freaking did a solo level 6 mission by accident, so I'm sure that on a personal level we can definitely all push ourselves and try new things and be better, but we need to cater for what the game demands, not the other way around. Teamwork, coordination, communication, strategy is what this game demands, and if you want a certain gun or playstyle to circumvent that, then I think you are in the wrong. So don't get mad if you hit a wall because you're being stubborn and trying to circumvent these things. But I think that's enough of my mini rant. Flame078 here. I'll see you guys later.